Hello everyone, I wish you all good luck and peace. Have you ever had days when you just wanted everything to stop for a moment, so you could breathe, be quiet, and be yourself? Alex is the same. In the midst of a series of uncertain days, he chose for himself a very simple morning. Just the pale sunlight, peaceful next to Na, and a bowl of instant noodles. No one knew if his eyes were tired or hopeful. They just knew that he was still sitting there, calmly eating breakfast, as if the world still had a place for peace to exist. Sometimes, it is in the seemingly meaningless moments that there is hidden strength to help us move on through stormy days. Today, let's stop for a few minutes with me to feel Alex's peace, and also the peace that perhaps each of us is looking for. Absolutely do not take your eyes off this video. Early morning, the first rays of sunlight filtered through the curtains, falling onto Na's face. She blinked a few times, then turned slightly to see Alex still sleeping soundly beside her, and Henry, curled up between them like a warm spot of happiness. No traffic noise, no phone ringing, just steady breathing and a peaceful heartbeat. Na lay still, looking at Alex, whose once tired face was now strangely peaceful. "I'm so happy," she thought to herself, smiling slightly. The room was small, but to her, it was the whole world. She gently got out of bed, afraid to wake Alex. Outside, birds were chirping on the roof, the early morning wind gently blowing through her hair. The scent of coffee wafted through the air. Although life was still full of hardships, this moment made her believe that, as long as they were together, all storms would pass. And so, a peaceful morning began, gentle, simple, and full of love. Na gently put on her coat, put on her hat, and led her small motorbike out of the alley. The early morning road was still covered in mist, a few thin rays of sunlight shining down on the trees. She ran slowly, the wind blowing through her hair, carrying the familiar scent of a new day. On the small street, the cries of vendors echoed, evoking a strange sense of peace. Arriving at the grocery store, Na parked her motorbike, smiled at the owner, then picked out a few eggs, a few packs of instant noodles, some meat and fresh milk. Each item she picked up carried a simple thought. This morning, I will have a peaceful breakfast with Alex. She imagined that scene, Alex sitting at the wooden table, the sunlight shining on his face, and Henry lazily sitting on the chair. A breakfast that was not luxurious, but full of warmth. In the midst of difficult days, just like that, she felt it was enough. Na returned, the motorbike stopped in front of the gate, dewdrops still on the handlebars. She took off her hat, smiled softly. This morning was so beautiful. Before entering the house, Na walked out to the backyard, where a few small vegetable beds were swaying in the early morning sun. She bent down, gently picking a few young green vegetables. The leaves were fragile, fresh like the feelings in her heart at the moment. Adding some vegetables to the noodles will probably be more delicious, she thought to herself. The small kitchen had the early sunlight shining through, the sound of boiling water, the smell of meat, eggs, and vegetables mixed in the air, creating a strangely cozy aroma. Na gently stirred the pot of noodles, the steam rising up, making her cheeks blush. Each of her movements was slow, gentle, as if afraid to break the peace that filled the house. Occasionally, she looked up at the bedroom, where Alex and Henry were still sleeping. That image made her smile. In just a little while, they will wake up, and we will have breakfast together, like a real little family. The clattering sound in the kitchen woke Alex from his sleep. The morning sunlight filtered through the curtains, shining on Na's shoulder as she bent over the stove. Steam rose, mixed with the smell of tuna and eggs, creating a cozy aroma that made his heart suddenly tighten. He sat quietly for a moment, just to admire the figure of that woman who had been steadfast by his side through the days, when it seemed like there was no way out. He stepped down, his voice hoarse but full of care. "Let me help you." Na turned around, her smile as light as morning dew. She didn't say anything, just nodded, letting him stand beside her, cutting vegetables, arranging dishes, and lighting the fire. No one asked anything about the numbers, about the company, or about the worries hanging over their heads. In that small scene, silence became the gentlest way to love. Alex glanced at Tuna. Her face shone in the smoke, her eyes gentle but deep. A choking feeling rose in her throat. He wanted to say something, wanted to apologize, wanted to thank, wanted to say that he was afraid of losing everything except her. But then he was silent. He was afraid that if he opened his mouth, tears would fall. Tuna still scooped the noodles, so gently that she was afraid the noise would break the peaceful atmosphere. She placed the bowl in front of him, softly saying, "Eat, it's still hot." Alex picked up the chopsticks, looking at the simple bowl of noodles, but seemed to see a whole world. Noodles, eggs, a few slices of tuna, a cheap breakfast, but a meal of love and trust. He bowed his head. The first hot spoonful of noodles slid down his throat, carrying the slight salty taste of tears. She sat, quietly observing. Their eyes met for a moment, wordless, but containing 1,000 things. He wanted to cry, wanted to hug her tightly, but instead, he just smiled, lightly and tremblingly. "It's delicious, Tuna," she responded with a warm look, her lips slightly curved. In that moment, the world seemed to stop. The smoke from the noodles still drifted lightly in the early morning sunlight, covering Alex and Tuna's faces in a warm color. Both of them occasionally laughed at trivial stories. Alex watched Tuna eat, his eyes gentle as if he wanted to record every moment. After a while, he picked up a strand of noodles and brought it towards her. "Try it. Is the taste different today?" Tuna was a bit embarrassed, but still bowed her head slightly to receive it. The noodles were soft, the broth was rich, but what warmed her heart the most was Alex's gaze, a gaze filled with love, gratitude, and quiet appreciation. She laughed, her eyes shining with joy. "It's delicious, probably because you cooked it together." Alex smiled in response, his face relaxed after many tiring days. Breakfast passed like that, simple but filled with love. In each spoonful of noodles, Tuna clearly felt that no matter how stormy life was, as long as he was by her side, everything would be complete. After breakfast, Alex sat quietly looking out the window. The soft light fell on his hair, but his eyes still had a bit of the gloom of the uncertain days. She approached, gently placed her hand on his shoulder, her voice soft as the wind. "Honey, don't worry anymore. No matter what happens, I'm still here. We'll get through it together, like so many times before." Alex turned back, his eyes lingering on her face for a long time. In that moment, the burdens in his heart seemed to melt away. He took her hand, her small but warm hand, strangely strong. He nodded slightly, his voice choked. "Thank you, Tuna. I won't give up, for you and for Henry." From the next room, Henry, the little boy, ran out, his eyes shining, laughing loudly. Alex picked up his son. Tuna hugged his shoulder. The three of them stood by the window, watching the early morning sunlight fall on the green vegetable garden, the beginning of all new hopes. In the midst of difficult days, they found something more precious than money: family, love, and peace. After the storm, Alex felt relieved, believing that with Tuna and Henry, he would have enough strength to start over.